So, consecration essentially means to make a physical space reverberate with a non-physical dimension of energy. In a way, that's what you are. This body is a physical thing, but right now it's reverberating with a non-physical dimension of energy, otherwise it cannot be alive for a moment. If you know how to touch this, you don't need any consecrated space because this is a consecrated space. But you're not able to touch this. So we want to create that kind of energy in a more palpable way, where you can touch it, where you can feel it. So consecration is the science of bringing that forth in such a way that it's palpable, that you can almost touch it.
Of all the 7 dimensions or the 7 chakras. When I say all the 7 dimensions, the human physiology is constructed this way. It is a meditative force. There is no worship, there is no ritual, there are no offerings for the dhyana linga. All that you're required to do is sit there quietly. One has to just simply sit there to experience and imbibe the energies of dhyana linga. It's a live form. It has everything. As an energy body, it has everything as a peak human being would have. Only a physical body is absent, but in all other ways, it is like a living guru. So it is an opportunity for a spiritual seeker to do his sadhana in the presence of a live guru. The most fundamental thing why a spiritual seeker seeks a guru is because a guru can ignite his energies into a different dimension. That aspect of guru's role in a spiritual seeker's life is very well fulfilled by the dhyana linga. Dhyana linga can ignite one's energies into a completely new dimension of vibrance and possibility. If you want to experience dhyana linga, you need awareness, you need alertness, you need to be meditative, sitting still. But if you want to know her, you need aliveness, you need exuberance of life, you need madness of devotion. The Adiyogi that we created in the Adiyogi Alayam was mainly created as a repository of Hatha Yoga. It's a little difficult to explain to you how a form is a repository. But today it should be easy for you to understand, for this generation of people, it should be easier to understand because today you understand, you can carry a small USB and you know this stick has lot of information in it. So if this stick can store information, you can also store it in another form. So this is a composite, let's call it a computer if you like it that way. It's a composite computer which is a certain storehouse of information, a certain storehouse of energy, a certain storehouse of reverberation, which will reverberate for a very, very long time. So, I thought it's a fundamental responsibility to put Hatha Yoga in a certain repository which cannot be distorted. It's always available. If there are people, if there is a person who is willing to receive, he will know Hatha Yoga in its purest form, not as it is taught, but as the way the system is. Hatha Yoga is not something that you teach to somebody, it is something that you make somebody realize what is the nature and the geometry of his system. As he understands the geometry of his own making, then he will find the right postures for himself. And invariably it'll be the same postures. There is an intrinsic intelligence and a competence here, right inside of you, which can make an apple into a human being. If this has to blossom and find expression in many different ways, it needs a conducive atmosphere. That is what is a consecrated space. If you create consecrated space, if maximum number of people are constantly in touch with consecrated spaces, you would see human beings would blossom with a completely different sense of wholeness, homogeneity, an organic way of looking at life, above all, full-fledged human beings, not lopsided human beings. This must happen.